When it comes to art supplies, there's a seemingly infinite world of possibilities. Many of us, given the opportunity, would have a warehouse full of art supplies, many of which we would have no idea how to use or what they were for. They just look really neat, and we're sure we'll need them for something down the road. But then there's something to be said for the art supplies that we use all the time. The ones that are our go-tos, the ones we pick up instinctually, the ones we use up, wear out, and then we turn right around and buy them all over again. That's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about my favorite art supplies, the ones that I'm constantly using, wearing out, and replacing over and over again. As you work on your craft, as you learn new things, try different materials, try different supplies. This pen or paintbrush might be great right now, but further down the road you might find something that is so much better than it. You never know. But if it does the job, then it's good. At least it's good enough for now. So I'm going to give you the 5 items that I'm just obsessed with, the ones that are always in my drawing storage, whether it be in the case over here or it's going in my bag when I'm on traveling. My 5 favorite and most used art supplies. And as we're getting into that, now would be a great time for you to go down, like this video, subscribe if you're not already, and ring the bell icon so you can get notified of future videos. Helps me out a lot, and I hope to help you out a lot. Let's dive right into it. First up is Pigma Micron markers. I've been using these guys for probably half my adult life, if not more. They're kind of a standard art supply for anybody who does comic book style art, kind of a staple for anyone who does comic or manga art. I generally buy the pack that ranges from a 001 up to a 08. I also like to include the brush pen. The Graphic 1 is great for comic borders. And of course, depending on the circumstances, I'll use some of all in between. I generally try to do as much as I can with the brush pen. I kind of only switch off of it when I need to be able to get a finer line or something more controlled. Now, I'm not saying you can't get a fine or controlled line with the brush pen. I'm saying I can't get that fine or controlled a line with that pen. Alright, the number 2 thing that I always have in my art supplies is a kneaded eraser. I started using these when I was in elementary school, probably somewhere around 4th grade. I was absolutely fascinated about the fact that you could stretch them and tear it apart and smush it back together. It's like Play-Doh almost for artists. But the great thing about these and what I like about it is it doesn't leave any residue or shavings behind on the paper. It makes up fine, it's excellent for taking up soft or light pencil marks. It's not going to do the job if you've got really dark or heavy marks, but for most of what I do, I keep things pretty light. So this does probably a good 85+% of my erasing. The kneaded eraser is perfect for. It is raining outside. Can you hear that? It's not hard. You can just barely hear it on my roof. Little sprinkles. Might be coming harder, I don't know. What were we talking about again? Oh right, art supplies. I am always looking for good brushes, especially for my inking. When I'm not using the microns, I like to use brushes, pen and nib. But for the brushes, my go-to is a number 2 round brush. Looks like that. This one is by Raphael. It's a number 8403, I believe. It's rubbed off, so I can't say it for sure. But this has been my go-to brush for a couple of years now. Probably about time to be replaced. Got some fraying hairs there, but I really like these. And when I am inking with a brush or pen and nib, my go-to ink has become this Liquitex acrylic ink. This is, I think, my third bottle since I discovered it. I love how opaque it is, how black it is. It's also not a terribly thick ink. It's a very opaque ink without being terribly thick. A brush will pick it up real good and puts down on the paper, get nice smooth lines. That's what, 3 things? Now, for the next one, I really thought about saying gouache paints were my favorite. But I just started using gouache. As thrilled as I am with my experience so far, I don't think it's fair to include them in this video on my list. But I do think it's fair to include acrylic paints. Been using acrylic paint since I was in high school at least, if not earlier than that. Really familiar with them, they work well. I don't have a brand that I'm obsessed with. Here I have the Artist Loft from Michaels. They're great paint. So those are my 5 favorite art supplies. I'd love to know what yours are. Leave me a message down in the comments and tell me what you like to use. Until next time, have a good day.